Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty details of all of this snow. We joined Jaclyn Whittal in studio. And Jaclyn, I've been awake since 3:50. I drove here. I saw the plows coming through, the salters out. It's winter. Hello, November 17th.
It is winter, and Rachel, guilty as charged. I'm one of those people that have the Christmas decorations up, and I don't have the snow tires on. So there you go. Busted. Weather personality busted. I'm Jaclyn Whittal. It's so nice to have you along with a look at your national forecast coast to coast. It is about 9 a.m. on the east and, or in the east, I should say, and 6 a.m. on the west. Let's take a look here at the snow. This is a counterclockwise motion around this area of low pressure. That's the only reason we're seeing this snow. If this system had stayed a little bit further down towards the southeast, we'd be clear. But we kept an eye on it all weekend, and here we go. We've got snow bands all the way from southern Ontario right through the eastern parts of Ontario, and that's where the heaviest snow bands are. We're going to bring Mike Arsenault in to talk a little bit about the winter wonderland that you're in, Mike. Mike, the rumor is you're coming to my place to do my shoveling. That's what I heard.
Well, okay, I can probably do that, Jaclyn. Yeah, I can do that for you, sure.
Okay, teamwork. Thanks a lot, Mike Arsenault. Let's take a look here at the snow that's expected still for you in Ontario. Mactier, Parry Sound, that typical west flow off Georgia Bay, Lake Huron is going to start to set up as this system departs. So as it moves toward the northeast, expect about 20 to 30 centimeters through Highway 400 up through 69. That neck of the woods, Parry Sound, Sunridge, Algonquin Park, all looking at a snow squall watch right now. This is system-generated snow that we're watching on our radar right now, but once those winds shift, once the system departs, it becomes a lake effect story, and it doesn't go anywhere anytime soon. The next 3 days is a lake effect story. Let's take a look elsewhere. We saw some northerly flow over Lake Winnipeg, and as a result, saw some snow squall activity into Winnipeg with those northerly winds. Let's take a look at the winds out west. Very gusty Saturday night into Sunday, and chilly, very cold. In fact, it is still this morning in and around the minus teens. Swift current minus 13 for Saskatoon. And it is going to relax this Arctic pattern a little bit better anyway. We'll see, minus single digits at least on the west coast. 5 degrees this morning with clear conditions. Arsenault on the scene. You're in and around the Kitchener-Waterloo area. It's beautiful behind you, Mike. Tell us the latest.
I can do that because apparently from yesterday at the Santa Claus parade, one of the little kids there that Chrissy was talking to said I was on the naughty list, so I have some work to do.
Oh, you know what? I think that's second year in a row. I thought you were on the naughty list last year too, Mike.
I don't know what I have to do. Santa's just not my fan right now.
Fair enough. All right, we'll see you at my place with a shovel. Let's take a look at how much more snow is expected in and around central Ontario, Mactier, Parry Sound, anywhere from about 10 in the blue to 30 centimeters of snow down toward the GTA, less than 5 centimeters as we get on to the day. We're going to see a little less, but it's all to do with a system that's down to our southeast, and we're just getting clipped by the top northwest quadrant of the storm. Snow squalls, though, will replace the system snow. So you know what that means. I think I heard a saying, the storm moves out and it clears up stormy. That's because in Ontario, you get rid of the system snow and then the lake effect machine gets primed and ready to rock. So that's what we're going to see in the next 3 days. They're going to be very active. Through Quebec, you also have been seeing quite a bit of snowfall, 10 to 15 centimeters through Tremblant. I don't think they're open quite yet, but good base for them. All right, let's take you out west in the prairies is off Lake Winnipeg. So if we have a northerly flow, it's very common that we get snow in the lee of that lake. Now take a look at northwestern Ontario, who could mostly a squall event off Lake Superior. Take a look at the temperatures. I had mentioned how cold it is. It is easing, but still minus 11 in Brandon this afternoon. All right, let's show you this video here. Winter weather on the East Coast, but some will be getting a blast of spring weather. It depends on where you're at. That same system that's just southeast of Ontario is going to track through the Ottawa Valley, through to the East Coast, and really develop and deepen as an area of low pressure, becoming a powerful nor'easter. With it, we'll see 10 to 15 centimeters from Plaster Rock up through areas like Bathurst. We'll see a little less, but we'll see up toward the north, we're going to be seeing some heavy snow bands, but warming up to the teens.
They were just standing outside in the snow. Yeah. I know it's cold, but come on, let's do something. Let's get productive out there, guys.
That's right, Rachel. I was scraping my car off at about 5:45 a.m. here, and I live in Ancaster. What's even funnier is that I say scraping off my car. I was scraping off my husband's really big truck. I never drive the big truck, so I took the big truck into work. That's funny, seeing little me in this large truck. All right. However, I was safe on the roads. We want to make sure you're safe on the road, so keep it here all afternoon as this first, winter blast hits southern Ontario. Many other folks have already seen snow, but not Ontario necessarily, especially this far south. So there's the bands of snow. Yes, it's all moving in this direction. That's because it's just sort of the top side of an area of low pressure, which is far larger, and that cold front that's associated to this extends all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Would you believe me if I said last night, I was watching radar when I should have been sleeping, tornado warnings down in the Gulf states. So pretty impressive difference in air masses between the warm sector and the cold air behind the cold front. By the way, that warm push of air is moving to you in Atlantic Canada, and you are going to be seeing temperatures into the teens as this system approaches. You'll also be seeing some snow. Let's take a look at the snowfalls, potential snow squalls for Parry Sound. Could be seeing at least about 10 to 20 centimeters of snow, and the darker blue indicates that there. So let's show you this cute video. The video we get from all of our viewers right across the country. Please continue to send it, especially in events like this. You know, we talk a lot about lake effect snow in Ontario. It happens in Manitoba as well. You can see in the lee of Lake Winnipeg, they can sometimes get some snow. How about Edmonton? Let's check in with Margot Moran live. Good morning to you, Margot. How you doing?
So glad it's warming up here.
I can imagine, Margot. You're a trooper. Thanks so much. We'll check in with you shortly. Yeah, it's been frigid. This Arctic pattern is going to be relaxing for many across most of the prairies, but not for a few days for you in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Let's take a look at the gusty conditions we saw Saturday night into Sunday. Regina closing in at 76 kilometer-an-hour gusts. Coronach at 60, East End at 79. And that makes for some pretty intense wind chills when you have temperatures like this with this Arctic high. This morning, you're seeing minus 13 in Saskatoon, minus 14 for Regina. So still bundle up out there, minus 18 for Red Deer. But it will progressively get a little bit warmer as these temperatures start to slowly warm right through the better part of the prairies. Let's take a look here. We have this dip in the jet stream. We're watching a system move in on the west coast. That won't be for a few more days from now. No,
maybe not,
no,
but you gotta
no, that's
you gotta
mine.
dust it off.
Thanks. All right, Kev's right. Until the temperatures really drop off this evening, it's a great day to get out and enjoy some of this fresh snow. You know, if you maybe have the day off, or I don't know, maybe kids at home sick. Well, if they're sick, they should probably stay inside. But anyway, it's a good day for snow. It's going to be very mild, just around that 0-degree mark. MacTier up through Parry Sound, you could be easily still getting another 10 off, and that's because the system itself, which is positioned down toward the southeast, we're just seeing sort of the edge of it move through the GTA and all the way down, say, through Kitchener. But once that system moves, it's going to be a westerly flow bringing in snow squalls. So same old story, right? 'Tis the season. Into Quebec with the system-generated snow, 10 to 15 centimeters for Tremblant, starting off with a nice base early in the season. I don't think they've opened yet, but this will be a good thing for them. Let's take a look here at Pickle Lake. You can see just a dusting, and then just in the lee of Lake Winnipeg, just a dusting as well, lake effect snow. All right, let's show you here, Moose Jaws. It's an underground tunnel through the Prohibition days. It was really kind of cool to take a tour there. So maybe you're in Regina. It's a minus 11 today, partly cloudy conditions, so bundle up out there. Minus 9 for Swift Current, and similar conditions for you in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. All right, let's go to the East Coast. Oh, beautiful, beautiful shot there. Expect, though, Newfoundland, you're going to see everything from rain to snow, straight snow up through Plaster Rock and up through the north. Bathurst, you could be seeing about maybe 5 centimeters, not a ton of snow through tomorrow morning. Everywhere else is going to really warm up into the mid-teens. So the warm front with the system that's in Ontario is going to lift to the north. When that happens with a counterclockwise motion flow here with winds, we have southerly winds. That's going to warm us up 30 to 45 millimeters of rain, but enjoy the warmth. So grab that umbrella. It'll feel more spring-like. Here's how things play out. This is this morning. Watch all that moisture. There's the warm front I'm talking about. Everywhere north of it will be straight snow. You can hear the winds. I lived in Regina for about a year, and I remember those cold, blustery winds. Let's bring in Margot Moran, who's in Edmonton this morning. Margot, it's a beautiful sky behind you. It's the kind of morning, though, you don't need to put blush on, right? You've got that nice rosy cheek, you know, naturally by the cold. That's an interesting thing, you know, how weather plays into sports like that. Thanks a lot, Margot. We'll get an update from her coming up as well. She's right. That Arctic air, that pattern is relaxing. Let's take a look at this afternoon's high. -8 will be what it feels like for you in Grand Prairie. -2 for Calgary. That's a lot better. -8 in Edmonton. You know where it feels quite mild, but it's extremely snowy? Well, that is in Ontario. We will get a chance to speak to Mike Arsenault in just a second. Let's take a look at these daytime highs through the rest of the prairies, though very chilly still. All the warm air will slide further east every day as we get onto this week, but -14 for Saskatoon, -18 for Regina, and a -16 for you in Swift-Current. Now, those are the wind chills, so bundle up out there. Still another day of this chilly air mass. Let's take a look at the lee of Lake Winnipeg. I think this is neat. Whenever we have a northerly flow, we get lake effect snow off that lake. And, of course, we know we get it in the Great Lakes. Snow squalls are ready to rock in the next 24 hours. 5 to 10 centimeters for areas like Marathon off Lake Superior, and then all of the lakes expecting to really kick up some snow as we get into the next 24 hours. Let's bring Mike Arsenault in. Mike, it's a beautiful scene right behind you. You know, what are people's reaction like, you know, Monday morning commute? Not so great. All right. Thanks a lot, Mike. Yeah, I am not a skier, but I can imagine. In fact, did you Loch Lomond? Hopefully I'm saying that right. So you got to go to Thunder Bay to ski at this point. But it won't be long. Parry Sound, Sunridge, Aurelia, Barrie, areas like Blue Mountain will be getting quite a bit of snow to build up that base with the snow squall. So once the winds shift behind the system that's moving out, we're going to see a westerly, southwesterly wind, and the typical snowbelt regions will be getting it, including areas like Buffalo and Fort Erie. The reason I draw your attention to that is there's a big chance that Niagara Falls could really get a lot of snow out of this kind of event too. So we have southwest flow over Lake Erie. It can sometimes in the lee dump a lot of snow. We might even see some convective activity, and that means thunder snow. So like a thunderstorm, but in a snow squall. So kind of neat. All right, on the East Coast, expect some rain to begin and almost spring-like temperatures, 30 to 45 millimeters for the southern shores of Nova Scotia. Temperatures bumping up to the teens. Great plan. All right, I should make the phone call right after I'm done my shift today, and so should you, because the rest of the week we don't really get above the 0-degree mark for the GTA. So as we get into the snow squall story, you know, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for a lot of this snow to melt. Now, of course, right in the city and around the lake shores, it's much milder because of the influence of the lake. So a lot of that won't stick. But if you go north up through, you know, MacTier and Parry Sound, up through the Cottage Country area, Wyerton, 20 to 30 centimeters of fresh white stuff. That's snow squalls, folks, that it's really going to set up. And once they do, those bands are going to kind of meander. So no one place will get a huge dumping of snow, but everybody could get snow, 10 to 15 centimeters in the typical snowbelt regions. There's the snow squall watch. And for the morning drive in the GTA this morning, it wasn't snow squalls, it was system snow, is all going to push through parts of Quebec. Saguenay, 10 to 20, 10 to 15 for Tremblant. All right, let's show you this. As long as Lake Winnipeg isn't frozen over and relatively warm, then we get lake effect snow, and especially with a northerly wind, we have that fetch or that distance we need over the lake. So less than 5 centimeters possible, just dusting. Big Trout Lake, same for you, but Marathon up through northwestern Ontario, a lot more. All right, to you in the prairies who have been bundled up for about a week. Yeah, temperatures with the wind chills feeling like the -20s last week and over the weekend. Still looking at very chilly temperatures, but nice sky conditions. Partly cloudy, -11 for Regina. The wind chills will simmer down. Swift-Current -9 for you, and up through Cold Lake about -8. Now, if we take you to the East Coast, it's very quiet, by the way, for you in BC until maybe 3 days from now. We're going to get back into a rainy pattern, but for now, enjoy the calm pattern. Let's take you to the East Coast. Plaster Rock, New Brunswick, all the way up through the north. We could be seeing 10 centimeters of snow. Now, this is the same system that's pushing through Ontario and Quebec. As it does, that warm front is going to lift to the north. Everybody down through Nova Scotia is going to see a bump in temperatures and straight rainfall. For about a year in 2011, and it was that constant blowing snow that made it difficult for the roads, whereas in Ontario it's all about the snow squalls. Let's take a look on the west coast here this afternoon. Prince George will be at about -5, and a lot warmer in Edmonton. That's where we find our own Margot Morin. Margot, you have a big smile on your face because it is not nearly as cold this morning as it's been.
Oh,
You got it right. That's right, Margot. Thanks a lot. We'll check in with her throughout the morning. Let's take a look here at the this afternoon wind chill. Still very chilly throughout Saskatchewan, -14 with the wind chill there, -18, and then same for you in Manitoba. But we have good news. Those minus single digits will be pushing further east every day as we get into the long-range forecast. That's the good news. Let's take a look here at the snow potential through Manitoba. We do have the chance of some lake-induced snow, so a northerly flow off that lake and bringing in a little bit of snow, maybe less than 5 centimeters. Same for Big Trout Lake. Where we're seeing the heavier snow is, of course, the lake effect snow. So snow squall watch is in place from Sunridge all the way through Parry Sound. This is nothing new for people that live in this area. But for the GTA, it certainly can slow down the commute. We find Kevin Yard at a Canadian Tire, which is probably a pretty busy spot this morning, Kev.
Jaclyn, I haven't. I have to admit it. I haven't gotten
Me too.
yet. Back inside of you.
I'm in the same boat, Kev. Thanks a lot. I got to get mine on too. And like Kevin was just saying, the temperatures are really going to drop off. The winds are really going to be picking up too. So the wind chills are going to be pretty bitter along the lakes, especially where we have no friction over the lakes. So those winds can really, blow on through. And boy, it's going to be cold up through Parry Sound. You could as well. And then we go to the East Coast, which is quite the opposite. Get ready for the warm up. Maybe grab the umbrella. Weird, right? Well, I'll tell you why. We have rainfall warnings on the southern shores of Newfoundland, and then we have a ton of rain expected from Yarmouth all the way up through the southern shores of Nova Scotia into PEI, Sydney as well, anywhere from 30 to 45 millimeters. So how does this happen? Well, anywhere north of the warm front is going to be typical, snowfall, but anywhere south of that boundary will be all a warm air mass. So we have southerly winds bringing in Gulf of Mexico kind of warmth. So get ready for the double digits into the teens even to start your Tuesday off. Yes, hang in there, folks. We're actually going to be getting into a bit of a warm-up for many in the prairies. Let's take a look here. Seeing the signs of it already. -8 in Grand Prairie, -2 in Calgary. That's a lot better. And a -8 in Edmonton. We're going to join Margot Morin and momentarily to talk a little bit about the warm-up because I think people are thrilled. There she is. Margot, you're still bundled up. The last time we spoke to you, you didn't even have your mitts on. Is it that cold? I know they're back on. Yeah, I bet. And the sun is beautiful. Enjoy every minute of it. All right, let's take a look here. -14 in Saskatoon and -18 in Regina with the wind chill. So your afternoon, very chilly still, but it's going to be warming up just ever so slightly every day. Snowfall continuing for northwestern Ontario. Snowfall a little bit continuing for areas like Winnipeg in the lee of Lake Winnipeg. Now, speaking of the lakes, boy, the Great Lakes really going to be getting their act together in terms of lake effect snow. We'll talk more about that. But first, let's go to Brampton. That's where we find Kevin Yard live. Kevin, roads have been just treacherous this morning. How are people managing now as the morning's going on?
I don't.
I know. You and me both. We both know. We're dropping the ball. Aren't we supposed to be the first to have them on? We're warning you. All right, here's the thing. We'll go get them this afternoon. Hopefully we can get an appointment. Good news about the temperatures, as Kevin had mentioned, not only is it just nice that, they're fairly mild with this snowfall, it's that the road treatments work better in warmer temperatures. So as we get into that really, really cold air, that's where we get, we have trouble with the salt doing its job. And that's why a lot of places up here use sand instead of salt. So, Parry Sound, Sunridge, through Orillia, Midland, Penetanguishene, all those areas, Collingwood, along Highway 26. Get ready for it. It's a typical snow belt, snow squall setup where those bands will be meandering or moving a little bit. So you'll have westerly flow and then it'll shift a little bit. So everybody is going to get probably a good 10 to 20 centimeters, some more like on. Now, if you're on the East Coast, snow tires are always a good idea this time in the season, even though we're about a month away from winter, but we know how Canada falls can be. But you also need an umbrella because it's really going to start to pick up in terms of our rainfall. I'll show you why in just a second. Lower shores of Newfoundland could be getting quite a bit of rainfall. We have a rainfall warning issued by Environment Canada. But really, the hardest hit area will be PEI and Nova Scotia, 30 to 45 millimeters of rain. That's because a boundary, a warm front, so a push of warm air will separate snow to the north and rain to the south. And on that note, I'll mention that your temperatures will be bumping into the double digits. So Kevin Yard is out and about the GTA. Long time no chat. Kevin Yard, how you doing?
Well, maybe not, but you gotta dust it off.
Thanks. All right, Kev's right. Until the temperatures really drop off this evening, it's a great day to get out and enjoy some of this fresh snow. If you maybe have the day off, or I don't know, maybe kids at home sick. Well, if they're sick, they should probably stay inside. But anyway, it's a good day for snow. It's going to be very mild, just around that 0 degree mark. McTier up through Parry Sound, you could be easily still getting another 10 to 20 centimeters of fresh snow. It's going to taper off, and that's because the system itself, which is positioned down toward the southeast, we're just seeing sort of the edge of it move through the GTA and all the way down, say, through Kitchener. But once that system moves, it's going to be a westerly flow bringing in snow squalls. So same old story, right? 'Tis the season. Into Quebec with the system-generated snow, 10 to 15 centimeters for Tremblant, starting off with a nice base early in the season. I don't think they've opened yet, but this will be a good thing for them. Let's take a look here at Pickle Lake. You can see just a dusting, and then just in the lee of Lake Winnipeg, just a dusting as well, lake effect snow. All right, let's show you here. It all coming from everyone. Just make sure that you're safe to do so. And if you are taking viewer video, take your smartphone and turn it horizontally. It always comes up better on TV. But yeah, we have snow to talk about right across the country. We'll get into all of that coming up. But let's take a look here at our temperatures this afternoon. Fort St. John at -10, very chilly. Grand Prairie at -8. Edmonton at -8, but that's a far cry from where you've been as of recently, isn't it, Margot Morin? That could get interesting if you and Deb Mediichka met up and, you were an Eskimo fan. Woo!
We've been known to make a few wagers on live national television, Jaclyn. I guess you guys will have to stay tuned later this week.
All right, I look forward to it. Thanks a lot, Margot. Beautiful sunshine, as you saw. Temperatures throughout the prairies, very chilly. -14 in Saskatoon, -17 in the Pas this afternoon, and the same for you in Brandon, Manitoba. As we get into Ontario, it's not so much about the cold. In fact, it's pretty mild, but it's about the snowfall. Marathon, 5 to 10 centimeters on the way. That's because of snow squalls, you guessed it. And same for the typical snow belt regions. Where we find Kevin Yard this morning, though, is in Brampton. And, you and I have been talking this morning. We both don't have our winter tires on yet, although we should. Most people that you've been speaking to,
Yep.
Are they prepared? Thanks, Kev. And the key word is yet, because you will need that parka. You will need the extra layer by tomorrow morning. So for the kids getting ready for school tomorrow morning, make sure they are bundled up. In addition to the cold, lots of heavy snowfall. McTier up through Parry Sound, easily a good 10 to 20 centimeters. My brother, who lives in Bracebridge, just texted me and said, whoa, what's the deal with all the snow? Well, it's just beginning. If you live in cottage country, it's going to keep up. And the temperatures won't be all that mild to melt a lot of this early snowfall. Let's keep in mind, we're still about a month away from official winter, December 21st. Now, if you go to the East Coast, quite the opposite. It's all about the rainfall there. And, more spring-like, if anything. So we have a rainfall warning in southern Newfoundland, and then up through Labrador, we have a winter storm watch. So it's one of those systems, we see this all the time, especially in our transitional seasons, where we have different types of air masses. Warm air mass means straight rain, and that's what Halifax, Yarmouth, Lunenburg, and Sydney all will be getting. In fact, quite a bit of it, 30 to 45 millimeters of rain. And then Moncton, you'll get a bit of everything, 15 to 30 mil potentially of rain, but then you also get a dusting of snow, maybe even just mixed precipitation, that wet, kind of sloppy weather, or maybe even the potential for freezing rain. We'll keep a very close eye on this as we get it into tomorrow morning. Up through the extreme north, Bathurst and Plaster Rock, and up there, it's going to be straight snow, and you could be seeing 5 to 10 centimeters. But everywhere else, it's going to see the rain. Get ready for a big warm-up into the double digits. Kevin, a lot of talk before we see these events with people saying, hey, I got to get these snow tires on. I got to get them on. Guilty as charged. Mine are not on at this time. Great plan. All right, I should make the phone call right after I'm done my shift today, and so should you, because the rest of the week, we don't really get above the 0 degree mark for the GTA. So as we get into the snow squall story, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for a lot of this snow to melt. Now, of course, right in the city and around the lake shores, it's much milder because of the influence of the lake. So a lot of that won't stick. But if you go north up through, McTier and Parry Sound, up to the cottage country area, Wyerton, 20 to 30 centimeters of fresh white stuff. That's snow squalls, folks, that it's really going to set up. And once they do, those bands are going to kind of meander. So no one place will get a huge dumping of snow, but everybody could get snow, 10 to 15 centimeters in the typical snowbelt regions. There's the snow squall watch issued by Environment Canada. The morning drive in the GTA this morning wasn't snow squalls, it was system snow, is all going to push through parts of Quebec. Saguenay, 10 to 20, 10 to 15 for Tremblant. All right, let's show you this. As long as Lake Winnipeg isn't frozen over and relatively warm, Then we get lake effect snow, and especially with a northerly wind, we have that fetch or that distance we need over the lake. So less than 5 centimeters possible, just dusting. Big Trout Lake, same for you, but Marathon up through northwestern Ontario, a lot more. All right, to you in the prairies who have been bundled up for about a week. Yeah, temperatures with the wind chills feeling like the minus 20s last week and over the weekend. Still looking at very chilly temperatures, but nice sky conditions. Partly cloudy, minus 11 for Regina. The wind chills will simmer down. Swift Current minus 9 for you, and up through Cold Lake about minus 8. Now, if we take you to the East Coast, it's very quiet, by the way, for you in BC until maybe 3 days from now. We're going to get back into a rainy pattern, but for now, enjoy the calm pattern. Let's take it to the East Coast. Plaster Rock, New Brunswick, all the way up through the north. We could be seeing 10 centimeters of snow. Now, this is the same system that's pushing through Ontario and Quebec. As it does, that warm front is going to lift to the north. Everybody down through Nova Scotia is going to see a bump in temperatures and straight rainfall. You'll also see some of those snow flurries start to pick up in intensity. Let's see what we've seen already this morning. So happy Monday morning. 4 centimeters of snow to bring you into the city with your morning commute. Not fun. Violent at 8 centimeters and Milton at 6 centimeters of snow. This is going to continue, except it will not be system-driven snow anymore. Now it's going to switch over to lake effect snow, and we know what that means. That means a lot of snow for the typical snow belt regions. You can see the snow squall watch behind me. But let's bring Mike Arsenault in live, who's been with us all morning long. Mike, every time we go to you, it's the same kind of backdrop. It's not letting up.
The snow starting to become packing snow, so that's going to be good news for the snowmen and the snowball fights. Not great news if you have to do the shoveling at your house, which I guess is I have to do the shoveling at your house. This isn't good news for me, is it?
Well, that's what I heard. I heard you were coming over after your shift was done, but, we'll see where it ends up, right? Just kidding, Mike. We'll get him off the hook for today. All right, heaviest snow in Niagara, Cottage Country, eastern end of Lake Ontario. That's because whenever we have that southwest flow over our open waters, and they're warm still, relatively warm, and cold air aloft, that is the recipe for lake effect snow. You need a 13 degrees Celsius different. So we have some single banding snow going on. That's going to be those streamers that, one area can get really hit hard and another area maybe not so bad. Let's take a look at MacTier. You could see 20 to 30 centimeters of snow with that westerly flow off Georgian Bay. All right, let's have two-way street. It's backed up on both sides, whether you're going east or westbound. 10 to 15 centimeters of snow through Saguenay, Quebec, Mont-Tremblant. They're not open yet, but this will certainly help create a nice base. 'Tis the season. Here we go into ski season. Port aux Basques, you're looking at rainfall. In fact, the entire part of the eastern parts of our country will be rain. And why is that? There's a warm front moving through. I'll show you that in a second. But Nathan Coleman has his umbrella ready. That's exactly it. Thanks a lot, Nate. I'll show you why. So we have the system that'll move through this afternoon. We're seeing a bit of everything, of rain mixing with some snow. But once we get to this stage, which is overnight tonight, most of this is going to be straight snow through Sept-Îles, Quebec, the Gaspé region, this triple point. That's where we have the trough, the trowel, the cold front and the warm front all coming together. That's usually where your heaviest snows are. However, beneath that warm front, it's going to be a push of very warm air, and that's what's going to keep it straight rain in that warm umbrella of air. So how much rain? Well, this is how much, 30 to 45 millimeters of rain. And then the accumulating snow, like you said, up through Plaster Rock and then north of there as well. Miramichi, Bathurst, you'll see a bit of everything. Of course, you've got the influence of the warm waters too. So sometimes a lot of that snow will melt on contact just because we're in that transitional time of year. As far as you, Newfoundland, 30 to 45 millimeters through Argentia, Fortune, Port aux Basques, and then some winds to accompany this as well. Let's go back to the snow story. This is through tomorrow morning. We have 10 to 15 centimeters up through the Gaspé region. So be careful out there. And of course, yes, it's time. Yes, it sure is. And we're keeping you up to date here at the Weather Network with the first winter blast through much of the GTA. And of course, we're only, in fall, a month away from actual winter. So, when we think about snow this time of year in Ontario, often it is snow squall driven. So the warm lakes having such a factor in our winter weather. Today, it was a system. So enough cold air in place that a system actually brought pretty widespread snow. Parry Sound, Sunridge, Orillia, Barrie, Owen Sound, all those typical snowbelt regions. As our winds shift around westerly, that's when the snow squall machine will really get going. But right now, this is a look at the radar. We're just on that top northwest quadrant of this system. Heavy bands of snow you can see pushing through eastern Ontario, and that's likely going to continue well into this afternoon. Let's go to Kitchener live with Mike Arsenault, who is in a winter wonderland. Mike? You better believe it. Thanks a lot, Mike. He's right. And, you know, the road treatment works well when we have temperatures in around that 0 degree mark. If we get into the minus teens, that's when that, you know, the salt doesn't do its job as well. So that's the good part. But you're right. You got to go really extra carefully out on those roads today, watching that system finally depart. And then the lake effect machine starts to get its act together. Natalie Thomas has a few driving tips.
There are so many safety tips we can give you when it comes to winter drive.
It's so true, and it's not easy if you drive a big truck. I actually borrowed my husband's truck today, and trying to get on the top of that big truck to get that snow off in Ancaster, not easy, but you really do have to take the time because it can blind the person behind you, as she just mentioned. So speaking of blinding conditions, in addition to all the snowfall that we're going to see through McTier and then up through Parry Sound, anywhere from 10 in the blue color to 20 centimeters, and then the white color 20 to 30. But we will also be talking about very gusty, windy conditions at around 80, 90 kilometer an hour gusts. So imagine that. Now that's blizzard-like conditions. We'll keep you very posted. We'll be looking at the radar throughout the morning and the afternoon. Keep it here at the Weather Network. Back to the northwest, we're looking at 5 to 10 centimeters of snow through Marathon and just a little bit of lake effect snow in Manitoba as well. All right, what about the University of Saskatchewan? Speaking of which, it's a very cold live webcam. That's minus 13 in Saskatoon with the wind chill. Base temperatures around minus 8. Same for much of the province, but the good news is you are going to be warming up ever so gradually throughout the week. So the long-range forecast a little milder. This Arctic air starting to subside, shall we say. We're looking at it relaxing, this pattern. BC bracing for warming up temperatures, which is good, but bracing for a big weather maker. We could be seeing a rainy system push at least by Wednesday, and then by Friday, even a more moisture-laden storm. Storm watch coverage continues. All because of about 4 centimeters of snow through Toronto, 6 centimeters in Milton, Vineland picking up about 8, and down towards Windsor, just a dusting. The difference between this snow that we're seeing right now is we're seeing system snow. Now, we talk a lot about snow squalls and lake effect snow. That's about to begin. There's a saying in the weather world, the meteorology world, storm clears out, and then it gets stormy in Ontario because the actual system moves, but then the lake effect machine gets going. And when it does, we all know that it can drop a lot of snow in a short period of time. So Algonquin Park, Parry Sound, through Barrie, Orillia, Midland, Owen Sound, Highway 26 going to be a nightmare, I'm sure, because we're going to have some really strong winds. Let's bring in Mike Arsenault, who's in Kitchener. Mike, it's really quite pretty behind you. The winds really haven't picked up. Temperatures are not too bad, but those roads.
Or have a feeling that if you haven't made the appointment to get the snow tires on, it's probably going to be a couple weeks, so that everyone has the same idea.
Me included, Mike. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I don't have mine on, and I should, but now it's probably going to be, like you said, a few weeks. So definitely still a good idea to do it. You know, I had someone actually just sent me a Twitter message, and thanks for all the updates on Twitter this morning. Said, you know, it's always a good idea to get all 4 snow tires, not just 2. Some people think you can get away with just 2. It's better to have all 4. And that's coming from someone who lived in the snow belt for many years. All right, let's take a look at this flow. They see this evening, we're going to see our winds out of the southwest. That's going to give lots of fetch or the ability to lake effect snow to really get going. Notice the pink. Those are 60 kilometer an hour winds sustained and then some. So around the shores of Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, we could see wind gusts at around 80, 90 kilometers per hour. So if you can imagine, McTier, Parry Sound, anywhere from about 10 to 30 centimeters of snow. That includes you too, Barrie and up to 400, out 26 into Collingwood and Stayner. This is going to be blizzard-like. When these winds really start to pick up, the snow is going to be blowing in every which way. All right, let's take a look here on the East Coast. We have rainfall warnings in place, Port aux Basques, and then to the east. Oh, isn't that cute? I guess that's like maybe a GoPro or maybe their smartphone as they do their tobogganing in Nova Scotia. So will you be able to do some tobogganing? Not so much. Not for this afternoon. You're looking at straight rain and see that snow mixing out with some rain. And then that all shifts toward the north, Bathurst, and all the way back to the southwest. We're going to see that mixing line, but then all straight snow from Plaster Rock up through Edmundston and the Gaspé region. So here's why. Couple things going on. We have the system that's moving through Ontario, which has a cold front that goes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico and had a tornado warning on it yesterday in the States. But anyway, as that pushes east, it's really going to deepen, and we're going to see a warm front lift to the north. That's going to keep you mild on the East Coast. We'll give you an update on the next 2 that are yet to arrive. That's on the way. Lots more. Stormwatch continues. Good idea to pick up a Troy-built snowblower today, in fact, especially if you live in the snow belt. It's going to be not only just heavy accumulations going on. We do have a snow squall watch issued by Environment Canada, but we're also talking about really gusty winds. And you know what that means. That means areas like Highway 26 and the 400 and 69 up through Parry Sound are going to be treacherous. So blowing snow is worse than just a lot of snow. Keep a close eye on the radar for you. Let's look at that now. In fact, Sudbury's seeing a few bands in and around the lake, but this is not lake effect snow. This is all a part of a system. There's a warm front dividing this rain to the snow. Heavy snow bands going to be pushing into the Niagara region and into eastern Ontario as well before the lake effect machine starts getting going. All right, let's go to Kitchener live with Mike Arsenault. Mike, it looks like you met a few friends in the snow. Who do you have? Wow, I think Mike plays baseball. Apparently he's a pretty good baseball player. Maybe he could take some notes from Marianne. That is a pretty good throw. All right, 6 centimeters in Milton has fallen so far. 4 centimeters in Toronto at Pearson, and Vineland at about 8. Trenton, though, you could be seeing more, 9 centimeters. Again, this is all system generated, so snow on the northwest quadrant of the storm. As that pushes out, we don't clear out, the lake effect machine gets going, and you can see that on the model being, picking up these bands, these streamers. Now, if you go to the East Coast, well, then you're under a big umbrella of warm air, and Nathan Coleman has his umbrella ready. That's right, he's bang on. It's all to do with this warm air mass. So if you think about it, there's enough instability with this system that we saw tornado warnings down in the Gulf states. Well, all of that moisture and warmth is going to be pushing up into the Atlantic Canada along the jet stream. No chance for tornadoes or anything like that, but certainly a chance for heavy rain showers, maybe even a thunder shower. I wouldn't be shocked. Yarmouth, you have a rainfall warning right now. Port aux Basques into the east, not St. John's. You're looking at a rainfall warning, and the winter storm warnings will stay up through Labrador, at least for this point. So with that warm push of air, 30 to 45 millimeters of rain is possible, 15 to 30 for Moncton and St. John. And that's where we're going to see that dividing line between the snow, the mixed precipitation, and then the straight rain. Newfoundland, for the most part, down through the southern shores, 30 to 45 millimeters of just rain for you. And so that blowing and drifting kind of snow. It's not that they get a ton of snow, they get a lot of cold, and you get the blowing and drifting. You know what I'm talking about if you live there. So temperature forecast is going to ease a little, this Arctic chill, but still on the cold side. Storm watch continues. Yeah, exactly. Good luck getting an appointment in many places, because when it happens like this early in the season, everybody says, oh no, I got to do this. And then nobody get an appointment, right? But still try. I'm going to try as soon as I'm done work today, because I have a feeling that this snow is not going to melt anytime soon. Temperatures will be at 0 or below for Ontario. Heavy snow expected still with that southwest flow over the Great Lakes. So that means areas in the lee of Georgian Bay and in the lee of Ontario, such as areas like Dunnville, Fort Erie, and then into Kingston too, all because of these snow squalls. Snow squall watch advisory, has been issued, I should say, by Environment Canada. Parry Sound, Owen Sound, Barrie, so 26 up the 400. It's going to be a mess. Then the winds will pick up. We'll talk about that momentarily, but here's Mike Arsenault in Kitchener. That's right. Thanks a lot to Mike, doing a great job out there reporting for us. And here's the thing, the temperatures around the 0 degree mark, that's good for road treatment. So salt works well at these temperatures. It's slushy and messy and slippery, but it's when we get that extreme cold like they've been seeing out in the prairies that it's difficult to treat the roads. Let's talk about those winds that I had mentioned. So winds will be out of the southwest. That's going to get the lake effect machine primed and ready to go. And we have the fetch off Lake Ontario and Lake Erie and Georgian Bay. But those winds will be gusting at 80, 90 kilometers an hour over the next 24 hours. So in addition to this amount of snowfall, 20 to 30 centimeters for Mactier up through Parry Sound, maybe 10 to 20, Hanover and Orangeville, those areas, you'll be talking about, blowing snow and those types of conditions out on the road. So go extra careful. Be safe out there. Let's take a look here at the snowfall forecast through tomorrow morning. So less than 5 centimeters for Big Trout Lake and Pickle Lake, and then just a little bit with a northerly flow. But cold, still very cold. Those wind chills in the prairies have been very bitter, feeling like the minus 20s over the last week or so. Edmonton, Calgary, you are going to get a reprieve from this Arctic chill. Here's Margot with more. Mild conditions. Yarmouth, you're under a rainfall warning issued by Environment Canada. Port aux Basques, same deal for you. And then up through Labrador and Sept-Îles, Quebec, the lower North Shore, we have a winter storm warning. Here's why. A lot of this will fall as straight snow in the extreme northern parts of Quebec, but then most of the stuff underneath the warm front will be rain. Get ready for a big warm up into the double digits on Atlantic Canada. And a good Monday afternoon to you. Thanks for spending some time with us here at the Weather Network. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal. Storm watch coverage continues for a big blast of winter weather. Is it early? Well, yeah, it is. We're a month away from official winter, but we've seen a bit of this already going on in Ontario with lake effect snow and, of course, right across the country. Geez, let's not forget that in September, early September, Alberta got hit with a lot of snow. All right, well, we're going to be getting a lot of snow via snow squalls through the typical snowbelt regions. So Barrie, Owen Sound, Kincardine, up through Sunridge and Algonquin Park. It's going to get really dicey out on the roads. You thought this morning was bad. It was bad. But tomorrow morning, likely through those snowbelt areas are going to just be treacherous. We're going to have very gusty winds and heavy, heavy snow. There's a look at the radar. You can see it's nudging into as far north as Collingwood right now. But, you know, Kitchener has been getting hit all morning. Here's Mike Arsenault with more. All right, thanks a lot, Mike, for that. Let's take a look at the winds, because once these winds really ramp up, it's going to make that wintry weather feel even more unbearable, especially for folks living along the shores of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. So very gusty winds. We're going to see gusts anywhere from about 80 to 90 kilometers per hour, sustained about 60 over the lakes themselves. That's because there's really no friction over the lake, so nothing to stop it. There's the snowfall. I talked a little bit about the heavy snowfall up through MacTier. Anywhere from 400 north down through Barrie, you could easily get 10 to 30 centimeters of snow depending where you're at. Buffalo is also looking at a lot of snow. Fort Erie potential for some big snows, and thunder snow potential, which is basically a thunderstorm. I was going to say in the winter time, but it's not winter yet, but it's winter-like out there. So we can see lightning, we can hear thunder, and there's just enough energy in the atmosphere, convection over the lakes that we get that. So it's pretty interesting stuff. 10 to 15 centimeters of system-generated snow. That's with the area of low pressure from Mont-Tremblant all the way up to Saguenay, 10 to 20. All right. Here's why. The system that's bringing the snow to Quebec, snow to southern Ontario, has a warm front. Anywhere south of that warm front is all about the mild air. And as a result, it's too mild to support a snowflake. So it melts, it becomes rain. Port aux Basques, you're going to see straight rain. Yarmouth, looking at rainfall warnings. The snowfall warnings, or the winter storm warnings, will stay way up to the north. Seeing a little bit of mixing just south of Corner Brook right now. City, though, straight rain, and then St. John getting into some heavy snows right now. We're going to see most of that snow stay northwest of that area. We'll keep a very close eye on the radar, and we'll have a chat about the winds as well, because they're going to be ramping up. But let's go out to the prairies and lightly falling snow. Here's the deal. It's been frigid in the prairies. It's going to continue to be cold, but not quite as cold. So that light, fluffy snow that you're seeing, you can actually get out there and enjoy it a little bit because it won't be so unbearable. West Coast, we're watching two systems, one that really ramps up by the end of the week. Storm watch coverage continues.